Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to Desi Spurs Podcast. This is our first podcast where we are going to
Yes,
discuss regarding all the football happenings. This is an attempt from our end to give a voice to for Spurs and other football supporters to express their opinions, views regarding whatever is happening in the football world currently. My name is Abhishek Vedpatak. I am a digital marketer by profession and a Spurs supporter for over 15 years. Joining me on the podcast is Prashant from Lily White India. Prashant, if you could just
yeah.
quickly introduce yourself and I would just want to know, what have you made of the two games that have just culminated and also the pre-season for Spurs. So we start with that, and you already giving me complex with the kind of background you have put. It sort of shows how big a fan of Spurs you are. But yeah, all yours. Just go ahead.
Yeah. With that background, I didn't think I would need to give my introduction, but that's all right. I'll give my introduction. I've been supporting Spurs for like 10 years. I'm Prashant Godara, and you can find my alter ego as Lily Whites India on Instagram. And just like you, I've been dedicatedly, ardently supporting Spurs for a long time. And here we are. Finally, there's a podcast for Spurs guys from all over the India. Let's talk about it. Finally, let's begin with it. All right.
Yeah,
If
go
you
ahead.
ask me, yeah, if you ask me, are we ready for someone like a Haaland or someone like even Rashford in his best? I would say we are still shaky. We are not ready. We are not ready. We won the match, yes. I'm talking about last match against Manchester United. We did win the match, but we we didn't look promising right now, to be honest. Like the whole system is going well. It's way better than Conte ball. It's not boring anymore. I'm not gonna sleep after the halftime anymore. But
No doubt.
to be honest, there's a lot of work that is to be done. We can talk about what's to be done, but I want to know what are your views about on the match.
Yeah, I think it's pretty promising. As you said, last couple of years, it didn't really feel like we were watching Spurs,
Yeah,
and a lot of matches that I must have just missed. Just looking at the score, didn't really feel like watching them. And certain matches we knew, that we were not going to win them. So
yeah.
it was
Even
really
before the
unfortunate
match has
because
started.
yeah, exactly. And uh, there were a lot of expectations, obviously, from the likes of Mourinho and Conte, who are like serial winners. But I think they really
Yeah,
didn't fit into the system. And something that Postecoglou has done so easily is what seems to be at the moment, because the players seem to be in a much better space, and they are getting the crowd back as well. In the stadiums. So I think overall, if you see, it has been a decent start. I would say there are definitely a lot of holes to be filled. But
yeah,
currently, the way we have started, I did not expect it to go so well. It could have really gone down south. But fortunately, we have done really well in both the games. We could have won the Brentford game as well. But we'll
yeah,
discuss regarding that in depth when we move on. But before we actually get onto the games, and before we talk about Ange ball and everything of that sort, we have made a few good signings, it seems like, which who
yeah. We
really fit
have.
into the system pretty well. One of
Yeah,
them definitely, and a key signing for us, has been James Madison, and the
James
kind of
Madison.
impact that he has had on the game is pretty evident. What do you think about these signings, Madison and
Well,
Van de Ven and Solomon, for that matter?
yeah, let's start with Madison, okay?
Sure.
Just like you, I was very scared. I was very scared because Madison, when he started off in that first preseason game, he wasn't looking very confident, to be honest. He wasn't making all those turns and all those running into spaces that we were expecting. But he has come good. He has come good.
Yeah,
All that
definitely.
money, I think it's looking really short compared to what we are getting in terms of quality, especially when we have other players.
Absolutely, man.
If you want me to talk about it, we have players like Ollie Skip. Ollie Skip
Yeah.
feels like a player like that Zomato delivery guy who comes very fast. He delivers you the pizza, but he delivers you upside down, right?
Or a wrong one, probably.
Yeah. He progresses the ball, but there's a lack of quality when it comes to the final third. So
Yeah, definitely. I
compared to
think that
all
is
those
what
players,
was I think hampering us as well with him and
yeah,
Hoybier. They were solid in patches, but they used to make a lot of mistakes as well, which were really costing us games. So I think you're right in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So finally, Madison has come good, and to be honest, the reins of Conte ball has been handed over to Ange Postecoglou. Like he doesn't really have proper fullbacks. Most of the players we have are wingbacks. So we can talk about it later. But what do you think? Are you impressed with James Madison yet, or are you
Of
expecting
course, I
more?
mean, I've always been a fan of Madison. In fact, last year against Leicester, we were at a screening. I don't remember the name of the place, but somewhere in Car, and I think Madison scored against us, and I think Leicester had won that game.
Yeah.
And everyone was any which ways feeling as if he's a Tottenham player already who's scoring against us itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, but since then, it was we all knew that the management has been watching him very closely, and sooner rather than later he would have been part. I would have really loved to see him play with Kane. We saw it in one of the preseason games as
Yeah.
well. The way they linked up really
And in
well.
the English team also.
Yeah, exactly. So it would have been really nice. It would have been really good. Some of the ball that he has played on to Richarlison, who we'll discuss
Yeah,
a bit, in detail
for
later.
sure.
If those could have got converted into goals if there was Kane there. But we don't want to talk about Kane too much here because he's not in the
Yeah, but
squad
I have
anymore
a
and he's left.
question for you.
Sure.
Do you think that we should be attempting more long shots with
We
the kind
should.
of
I
quality
mean,
that we have
with the kind of
in the
quality
form
that
of
we have, yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, we saw what Bizuma could do, or who what Emerson can do from long range. So I think we
yeah
should do that. And yesterday we saw Son trying to take a touch too many, and then
yeah
getting
exactly
crowded and missing out. There were other opportunities as well that we had. Where we passed the ball too many times in the box itself. So I think it should be a good mix and match of both. I mean, I'm sure the Ange along with his team will take notice of all these things, and with the kind of firepower we have in a midfield as well now, I think there is no harm that we should take some long shots, especially Madison, because he's good enough to take those.
yeah
Yeah.
he is. And to be honest, sometimes it felt like that Sony was getting tangled up into all these the new tactics that Ange has introduced of passing and all that other stuff, while he could have himself carried the ball towards the goal. But I think that's the price we pay for getting to know a new system.
Yeah, that's true. But Son has been of being in that position even during contest time. I think last
Yeah,
1 year or a couple of seasons where there has been a slight drop in his form. He basically the kind of goals that he used to convert earlier, those are not getting converted that often. But I'm sure, I mean, with more games and with the responsibility that has been thrown upon him, he'll definitely come good. In the coming games, it's just the beginning of the season, so let's not get too much into it. We'll definitely discuss the forward line of ours, because they have not scored a single goal as yet in the two
yeah.
games, so we will discuss that and in a bit detail later on. But yeah, I mean, along with Madison, there has been Solomon and Van der Beek when at the back. What is your opinion on those two guys?
As we were talking a few hours ago, Van de Ven feels like that he is alone doing the work of Pedro Porro and Emerson Royale.
Anderson
So
Royal.
he's a great combination, yeah. And one thing that we are still missing that we haven't seen from him is that progression. Few glimpses have been seen by us, but I think we are going to see more of those. He's gonna contribute a lot in ball progression. How do you think? How do you think he's gonna
No,
fare in our
what do you
team?
think? I mean, see, I read somewhere Tim Sherwood calling him as a wooden defender. Do you agree with that? Because I totally don't. Because he must be raw. He must not be. He is not that well oiled as yet. But definitely he didn't seem to be out of place totally. Obviously, I mean, it's just a second game. He's just been here for two to 3 weeks. He's not even played a single pre-game with us. So So obviously he's going to take some time. But do you really agree that he's wooden, or
Van
he's,
de Ven, Van de Ven literally put those claims to his grave. And while watching the match, I'm sure that guy was turning in his grave right and left. So yeah, that game was really good for Van de Ven. He did all he could.
Yeah, I think I mean it was unlucky the way the own goal went against Brentford. I think
Yeah,
overall I thought the defense was pretty good, although some chances will come for the opposition, because we are going to play such a high line. So if someone makes a run from wide, especially during the Brentford game, if you saw, our fullbacks were actually pretty much in the center, so there was a lot of
inverting.
room
Yeah,
for, yeah. So I think that those things will happen, and gradually we will understand how all the players will understand how to adapt to these kind of tactics from the manager. But yeah, overall I feel it's a very good signing. He's really quick, and he cuts down on forwards as well pretty quickly. So I think overall he's been a decent signing. Also, one of the other signings that I feel has been good has been Solomon. I think he's a real live
Manuel
wire.
Solomon. Yeah,
Although we haven't really seen him play too much in the two games till now, but I saw him last year at Fulham, and even in the preseason game, he seems like a live wire. I mean, he's got real pace, something that we would want in certain games,
yeah.
especially cup games and stuff, where we could just kill oppositions on counter attacks. He's going to be really handy. So I think we've got some good signings that we've already made, and I think a few more here and there would really help. But yeah,
It
what's your
would.
opinion on?
I think Manuel Solomon is a really versatile signing for us. He can play on the both sides, and we really need a player who can play both on the both sides, because Perisic is still in question. The Premier League season has started, and we still are not sure if we're going to keep him or not. Um, his performance so far has been really good. His shots were solid, as solid as Pedro Porro's shot against Manchester United. And yeah, I'm really impressed. I'm not sure how high his ceiling of growth is, because I feel like he is playing a decent game. He's like Hoiberg, but on the wings. So I'm not sure about that, but he's doing the job. He's really doing the job, and he's doing it really well.
Yeah, you mentioned Perisic. There are quite a few
Yeah,
players who were playing in the first team last year or last season,
yeah,
who have been dropped to the bench, or some players who have come back from loan, the likes of Licelso, the likes of Hoybier, Perisic, Davis, who were first team players last year. Um
yeah.
there has been a lot of talk about players who we should be looking to sell, and players we should be signing. Out of the players that are currently on the bench, who come off the bench, who have not been in the squad, the likes of Dyer, the likes of Perisic, the likes of Davis, and Licelso, Hoybier, Skip, and a few others. What do you think? Who do we keep, and who do we sell? I mean, are you clear on that part?
It's a long list, to be honest, too. But off the top of my head, I think Sessegnon needs to go. We can keep
Okay.
Ben Davies. We can keep Ben Davies. I think he would do justice to his role as a backup. Uh, Dyer has to go, and I'm really upset about Jed Spence. I think we should really keep him. He should not be on the transfer list. Neither should be Brian Hill. I really believe in these two guys, but they are on the transfer list, so Endombele has to go. Endombele is done. I mean, he has not been able to impress any of the coaches that
Managers.
we have
Yeah,
had, managers that we have had so far. Especially with his attitude, it's not about his talent. We all know what he's capable of. He
absolutely.
can throw three players out of the game just with a flick of his foot. But it's about the attitude, man, and attitude goes a long way. When we will talk about Richarlison, I'll talk about this. I'll talk about the attitude part of the game. How about you? Who do you want to sell?
I mean, it's a very tough one, because
Yeah.
before these
What
games,
about Tanganga?
I think he's not really shown any promise to me in the last season. I mean, he got his chances in patches as well, so you can't really blame the player as well. I mean, he did not get too many chances, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if whether we get a good price for him or we could just loan him out for this
Yeah,
season, because the first season when he started, he really showed some good promise. I remember his debut game against Liverpool; he was really
yeah,
good, and he showed really good resilience there and good pace as well. So all these players like Hill as well, for that matter, has been good in patches, especially the later half of last season when we were struggling, but he showed some good signs. Perisic, I think, is a good squad player along with Ben
yeah,
Davis. I think they can come in and do the job that they did yesterday. So whenever we have to sort of restrict the opposition once we have scored, I think these guys can come in and do their job. So I think they are going to be good squad players. They have more than enough experience. They have been around the squad for some time as well. So yeah, I mean, the other names that you took, like Ndombele, which is really heartbreaking, because the kind of football that
it
we saw him
is.
play during that COVID time, I remember, because
Yeah,
see, there was no atmosphere as such, right? So to watch a game, you needed some brilliance on field, and Dombele provided that to you. On a lot of occasions. I remember one of
yeah.
his goals that he had scored.
You
It was
remember
it
that
was
goal that he scored like from above his head like a rainbow kick
Exactly,
that
yeah,
went inside
exactly.
the
So,
goal.
so there
Yeah,
were these flashes of brilliance
yeah,
from him, that really, mesmerized you sometimes, and you thought that, why doesn't he do it all the time? And that has been the feeling right throughout now. And if you are not going to impress like three top managers, that means there is something wrong with you and not with the managers.
yeah.
So I'm sure, it's he has to go, and it's really sad that we are going to sell him for much lesser amount than what we had bought him for. So
Talking
yeah,
about
he.
defenders, Tanganga, like I just want to say that Tanganga has been given a different role in this preseason. To be honest, I think he's a fullback and he's been playing as a centre back right now. Whatever games he played, so that's a tough job to do. But he did okay. What about
Hmm.
Sanchez? We forgot about Sanchez. How do you see him, fam?
See, you saw him. I mean, against Barcelona in that preseason game, and against Brentford. I think he got a full game almost, the Brentford game, and he wasn't even 10 to 20% of what he was during Conte or during Mourinho. Like, because there he was
Yeah,
making mistakes left, right, center, but he seemed to be more calmer on the ball. He seemed to be, his passing percentage was much higher, which wasn't the case earlier. So,
his vicious tackles.
vicious tackles, which he always did. Sometimes, he
Yeah,
mistimed that really badly, which
yeah.
led to a lot of trouble for us as well. But but yeah, I mean, he was once upon a time a very highly regarded defender. When Pochettino actually signed him. So, but he seems to be, you know, there and thereabout. But I think if we get a good price for him, I think we should sell him and look at buying another young defender, which is where I was coming to the next sort of a discussion that I would want to have with you, which is about the spots or the players that you would want to fill up, in terms of the current squad that we have. We have a big squad, so obviously we'll have to sell a lot of players
Yeah.
for sure. But what are the positions that you want to be filled, which you think is a problem at the moment for us?
Actually, if we are able to sell some players, let's say if we are able to sell some players, there are three school of thoughts right now. Some people believe that we do not need a striker. We can make do with Richarlison or Sony can play in the center. Like there are some other people who believe that we need to sign a marquee striker, like a big striker. And there are some people like me who believe that we should sign a decent striker like Wahi from
Hmm.
whatever his team is. I don't remember. Multiplier. Some 30-35 million striker, and then we get two more players. One is winger and one is defender. I
Yeah.
think we should do this instead of signing a marquee player. We should spread out our money and try to fill these spaces. I think Gift Albon deal is almost done. I'm not sure. I think I read about it.
No, yaar, I seriously don't want to believe on, with all this, because you saw what happened
Yeah,
with Kane, right? Right till the last
yeah,
moment, they were saying that he's not going to sign, and eventually he did. Even after signing, or after, everything was, given a green signal, they still said that, he's been held back because there are more negotiations happening, but eventually it did happen. So you never believe, whatever is going on out there, especially on certain social media platforms. But yeah, until
yeah,
it's absolutely done. But yeah, I think defender definitely. Also, I would think that we should sign a striker, as you said, not a marquee striker as such.
yeah,
But looking at the two games, not signing off, or just not saying that Richarlison won't come good for us, because it's just two games. There's a lot of pressure on him, because he's replaced Harry Kane, and Harry Kane is someone who's been scoring, for fun in Premier League. So I think it's going to be a tough task for him to fill those boots. I think once he gets a goal or two, I think he'll be more relaxed, and I think because see what I feel always is, I don't know, it's bad luck for him as well. He is never in the right place when the ball ricochets or the ball rebounds or it deflects. Never, never, ever. He's always lunging. He's falling down. Is something or the other is happening. Yesterday, there were so many occasions where he could have just touched it into the net, but he was never in the right position. I don't know what it is. Whether his positioning is not right,
yeah,
or whether it's just plain unlucky. I don't know. But we have seen other strikers poach those kind of goals very easily. But unfortunately, he's not been able to do that until now. But still, I think we should sign another striker, even though Scarlett could get an opportunity, looking at the way that Postecoglou is introducing youngsters into the first 11 so easily.
yeah.
Like you saw Udogi there, you saw Saar playing, all getting their opportunities very early in
You
the
never
season.
know. You can even see Alejo Velis as well. You never
Yeah,
know.
yeah, you can do that as,
We just
yeah,
signed him, and
we can see that as well. so
yeah,
so yeah, I think um, but defender for sure and a winger for sure is what because I'm not still confident about Kulusevski's form as well, although yesterday he was still pretty much there about, at least he took a couple of shots that he generally takes from from outside the box and stuff. But still, I mean, sort of lacked the vigor that he generally showed when he was linking up with Bentancur and scoring all those goals in his first season. But let's hope it just it's just the beginning of the season. All these guys will come good eventually. But
yeah,
yeah, these are the couple of 2-3 signings that you mentioned that definitely should come in, and I'm sure Ange Postecoglou definitely knows about what who he needs to be signing, and which spots he needs to fill. So even though you might not get everything in this transfer window itself, he will try to make do with whatever he has. And it will take about 2 to 3 windows probably to get the kind of side he wants to build, and to play the kind of football that he visions to basically play with this team. But yeah, I mean, talking about Postecoglou, I think he's made the difference. I mean, we've seen 2-3 seasons where we have had like really good managers who have been serial winners, who have been winning elsewhere. But the
yeah,
kind of change of mood that has suddenly happened with this preseason, with the kind of approach that is shown in the media, the kind of interviews he's given, and the kind of games now we have played, the kind of football that we are showcasing. Do you think this is happening because all of a sudden there is less pressure because Kane is gone? Not too many people are expecting too much out of ourselves,
yeah.
during this season, because it's a new manager, a new team, a new goalkeeper, a lot of young players. Or is it really changed because of the way that he has been talking to players? He has that human effect about himself. There's a lot of things, lot of factors. So do you think it is really the Ange magic that has really worked, or is it we are just happy because we are getting to watch a certain kind of football again.
Actually, there's a lot of factors that go inside it. Like we are coming after a big setback, right? And some players have nothing to lose, like Davidson Sanchez, and
Mm.
while some players have everything to lose, like Richarlison. But I think that one main thing that has changed is obviously Ange Postecoglou and his approach towards game. It's like these players who've been playing all that game. There were news sources that were telling us that our players got bored of Anthony Conte's style of play. They just weren't fitting in. So I think it's a breath of fresh air for them also. And also, Ange Postecoglou brought some new mindset, some new ideas that can be explored on the field. You can literally look at the players while playing the match, and you can see that they have a lot of ideas in their mind. They are always discussing with each other. They are always telling that you should be there, you should be there. So there's a slurry of ideas in the field, which is really refreshing to see. And I just want to talk about Richarlison for a minute. Richarlison, as you recently talked, that he has not been as physical as we expect from a Brazilian guy, right?
Yeah.
He has not been in the right places at the right time. His movement has not been right. But one thing which makes me believe that Richarlison will come good is he is trying his best. He's really trying
Yeah,
his best. And
no doubt.
mindset was a problem. Mindset is not a light thing. Mindset was a problem last season, and this guy has the mindset. So I think that that's another thing that Ange Postecoglou has given this team. What about you?
Yeah, that's what the human element that has come in. I mean, we used to see Anthony
Yeah,
Conte's interviews, and he was always stone faced and trying to showcase whatever
yeah, cool.
has been wrong with the club all the time and with the players and the attitude and stuff like that. I don't think that really went down well with the players as well. I mean, what are they going to get out of their own manager talking about them in that fashion, that they are not giving 100% for their team and stuff. So I think the whole human element where you just put an arm around the shoulder of a player who's not who's low on confidence basically could help. And I think Richarlison, we saw yesterday as well, the way he reacted. He generally reacts that way. I mean, he's an angry kid
Yeah,
is what I would call him. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
he must have understood later, or Ange must have spoken to him and made him understand that there were certain things that the way they had to manage the game at that time. But yeah, I think he never fails to give his 100%. That's for sure. Currently, things are not falling into place for him. He's not been that lucky, as I said, that certain tap-ins that could just get him going are not going his way. They either are hitting the bar, or they are going straight to the goalkeeper, or so he's not been in the right place at the right time, as you said. But I think things could change once a few goals go in for him, for Son as well, for that matter, for Kulusevski as well, because it's very important for us that these three really click well, because last year we had Kane, who scored bulk of our goals. I mean, almost all the goals that we scored. This time we have had four goals that we have scored, and they've all four come from players who have not been playing in the on the forward line. So I think somewhere down the line, definitely they will click, and the entire forward line will contribute. But at the moment, I think that's a bit of a concern uh, to tackle, and maybe we'll have to maybe
yeah.
sign a couple of a winger and a forward, just as a backup, because if there's an injury that happens to one of them, then it becomes a problem for us. Yeah. So yeah,
What do you think about Foladin Balogun from Arsenal?
I think we can definitely look at them, but I think you can throw some more light on it if you wish to, or if you have an opinion on them, and then maybe I can take it from there.
Now, the main concern is that Arsenal is gonna make us pay a little more because we are Tottenham. So I don't think it's gonna be as cheap as we are expecting it to be, especially Balogun. And other two options that I came across were Wahi and Boludia. Both of them are good options. I think they will come cheap to us, about 40 million. And yeah, I think these two are the best option that we can go for if we are looking from my perspective of buying a cheap option.
Yeah.
Another thing, wait. Another thing I want to talk about is Ange Postecoglou has been dealing with a problem that's been handed to him by Conte. Conte's system is still in play while we are playing because Ange's Celtic was dependent on wingers and fullbacks for ball progression, while
Yeah.
Tottenham is depending on wing backs. So that's
Yeah.
a really concerning area for our team, and we don't really have a proper winger in our team because both Son and Deki wants to cut inside and
But inside.
play in that. Yeah,
Yeah, so certain, that's what I mean. See, at the moment, Ange Postecoglou also is thinking. Is very early days for him as well. So he's basically analyzing, looking at players, looking at certain formations, like we saw in the Brentford game where Emerson and Skip were playing. Skip was moving a lot to the right. Emerson was cutting in a lot, which we did not see with Poro in this game. So I think there will be a lot of changes that will happen even in the Bournemouth game. I think we'll see a completely different strategy that could
yeah,
be in place. So yeah, I think it's very early basically to say that Postecoglou is going to stick to a certain kind of gameplay at the moment, because there will be some more players that could get added to the squad as well, who could directly get into the first team once the signings are made. So I think
yeah,
currently, I think we'll go game by game. He'll go game by game rather, and see for what is really working, what is not really working. But one thing is for sure, that the kind of football that we are seeing in the past two games, it's something that he had promised, something that he
yeah.
said that fans will. At least that is something that we would like to give to the fans. Some hope,
Make
and
football great again.
encouragement. Yeah. so so
Yeah,
so so definitely, I mean, it feels like I should be watching the game and watching it through and through, because even yes, after we scored the second goal as well, I mean, United were down and out at that time. But after the first goal, generally what would have happened, Perisic and Davis would have come and we would have sat back, and either through a corner or through a free kick or something, we could have definitely conceded a goal. But yesterday that wasn't the case. We still kept pushing forward and kept pushing for that second goal, even though we made those changes. But still, and eventually what happened was, Davis went on and scored that. I mean, even though it was an own goal,
yeah,
but still he was in that position to actually convert that one. So I think
yeah,
that is the kind of breath of fresh air that Postecoglou has got in. And that is something, with whatever format he plays, whatever combination he plays, I think something
yeah.
that is guaranteed is this kind of football. So I'm really happy about that. Would
We
you would
have
you lo-
about like two or three matches before Liverpool, and we still have a time to figure these things out because our players are clearly not well versed with this system. As you can see against Barcelona, we were considering a lot of yellow cards, and it was
Yeah,
because some players were not able to keep up with the high pressing style, so they were
sure.
just committing fouls to stop other players.
Yeah.
Also, we can see missed passes, arguments. So these are all symptoms of not being well versed with the system. But we have time. We have time before we face Liverpool.
Yeah, I think the next few games for us are, I think, Bournemouth, then Burnley, I guess. And in between
Yeah,
that, we have a cup game as well against Fulham. So, yeah, I think these are good,
and
tough
we
games as
have
well to
another game
prepare
against
ourselves.
Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we have good tough games. I mean, all these sides are really, like Bournemouth at home is going to be a good game. Fulham at home
yeah.
is going to be a good tough cup game as well. So it's going to be good tough practice for our
But
players in
man,
terms
if
of
we win all these games, we're gonna be on the top of the table. I'm telling you. If we win all these games,
no, I'm not thinking
we'll
about
be
all that at the
singing
moment.
"Oh, when the Spurs."
That we would be singing any which ways, man. That's okay. But
That's
but
also true.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, let's take it game by game. I never had too much
Yeah,
expectation from the Man United game as well, because this is a fixture generally that we have not done too well, especially at
true.
at home. So it was really good to
Yeah,
see, us beat United after, such a long time. We have either drawn or, conceded too many goals to them. So that was good. But yeah, I think let's just talk a little bit about both the games in general, and a few people that we really need to mention. One of them is
yeah.
definitely Bazuma. What have you made of him? I think I'm sure there'll be a lot of praises for him. And one thing that I don't know whether you have been able to figure out, because I have not been, is that what was Antonio Conte thinking of, not, because he didn't play him at all, like barely
Yeah.
played him. Maybe he was injured, or I don't know. But what do you think is the difference between him then and him now?
It's, I think the thing with Conte was the same thing that Ange had with Van de Ven, because where Ange was playing Tanganga for the first few games in preseason, and he wanted to connect with a player who knows the system. So Conte didn't want to have some a player who will get injured after some time. That's the only reason I can think of right now, because Bissouma has been outstanding for us. There's not a single thing that I can put my finger on that he has not done right. Other than he can take more long shots, I think we have more chances whenever there's a close space. We should try and use those skills of Son, Madison, and Bissouma for long shots.
Absolutely, man. I think it was like he bossed the midfield yesterday. Like there were like really great players in Casemiro and Ericsson and Bruno Fernandes, for that matter, in the
Yeah,
opposition. But he was to a different level, to be honest. And I know that it's very early
he
days,
was
and
everywhere. He
he
was
was everywhere,
everywhere. You
just like
can,
in the
yeah,
game with Brentford as well. He was everywhere,
yeah,
but this was his real test, and I think he came out with really flying colors. So did Sar, I think. I think
yeah.
we've really found a star in him. The way he runs and the
We did.
way it's just brilliant to watch. And
Yeah,
and you know uh, when last season they all seemed to be very average and very normal, like but all of a sudden now they have just come into their own, and the kind of runs they have been making, and the kind of passes and the kind of vision they are showing. Still, there's a lot of improvement that is required. But what we have seen until now, in terms of the midfield, because last year the midfield was something that was really letting us down. I mean, Hoybier,
yeah,
Skip, after Bentancur was injured, I mean, we were really struggling in that midfield there. But this time, that is where we are really bossing it with Bizuma, Sar, and Madison. So I think that is one place where we will be dominating a lot of games. The defense and the forward line is something that really needs to buckle up and get along, which will take
yeah.
some time for sure. But yeah, I think
Let's have a brainstorming session. Okay, think about this: Perisic on the left flank, then Son, then Kulusevski, and then Manor Solomon. I know it's wild. I know it's wild. But what do you think about it? Perisic, Son, Kulusevski, Manor Solomon.
I think he should, but I think I'm okay with it. But I think Poro hasn't done that badly, to be honest. Yesterday, if you
Yeah,
saw the kind
yesterday he
of
was.
runs he made, and he almost scored as well. And whenever he is given that
Yeah,
opportunity, he does. He really works hard. There is no doubt about it at all. Solomon, I think we still have to take a proper look here. I'm not. I mean, even though I'm really
you're not convinced.
he gives me that
Yeah,
Aaron Lennon kind of vibes, the way he runs, the way he cuts, and the way he moves forward. It really
yeah.
excites me a lot. But I've not watched enough
Something in
of
the
him
way
to
he
actually.
moves.
Yeah, yeah. So, and in the stature as well, I've seen Lennon in action right in front of me, uh, long time back in 2008. But yeah, I think he must be, he does give me that kind of a vibe, and I'm really excited about watching him. But currently, I don't know where exactly he would fit in. I will still go with Poro because he's doing really
Uh,
well, and wouldn't really want to change that.
The only
Emerson as
problem
well.
with Bono was that he was not aware of his positioning. Many a times, a player will come from behind and steal the ball. So
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
only
yeah,
problem. Other than that,
yeah. Even now, I think he's not 100% at that any which ways. I mean, he still needs to figure his
yeah,
thing out at the back. but going forward, I think is just fabulous. And against weaker teams, he will really prosper, is what I feel. And I
Yes.
think we should stick with him, for a few games. Obviously, Emerson, from where he was last year to where he is now, I think it's been like a revolution. Something
Yeah.
that reminds me of Sissoko all those years back, when he was struggling, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, he was a
All of a
different
sudden
player
there was a
altogether.
yeah.
So yeah, so all these guys, currently, because everything is going so well, it's so exciting, and you just
Everything
want to watch
seems nice.
everyone play.
Everything's hunky dory right now.
Seriously, man, it just turned things around so much. Like,
There's one guy
teams
left though. There's one guy left that we haven't talked about. Can you guess?
there should be a lot many, but
In our main team, there's one
oh,
guy who
Son,
needs
is
to
it?
who needs to be talked about. Son, yeah, we can talk.
Romero.
Uh, yeah, Romero.
Oh.
What do you think? What do you think of Romero as of now? I mean, he's obviously one of the better players in our team, but
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I think the move to actually make him a vice captain was a really a good move. It was a masterclass, I would actually call it, because what happens is, once you put a responsibility on a player, then he sort of understands that and stays calm, because we all know how rash he could be. He's a brilliant
yeah,
defender.
that's
He just
exactly what
goes
I
for
was
the
gonna
ball,
talk about.
but the kind of responsibility that has been put upon him, I think he should calm himself down and think about the team before he makes those lunges and dives and
Yeah,
and breaks
and he did,
breaks the
and he did.
opponents. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It was really unfortunate, after that during that
yeah.
Brentford game, that he had to go out, after scoring that goal, because I think that was a patch where it didn't look like, but there must have been some kind of a discomfort for players, because all of a sudden,
No, in the highlights, it really looked like that he wasn't even celebrating his goal. So something was
yeah,
definitely off, and as we know,
absolutely, and
concussion is
players also
nothing to
get
joke
concerned,
about.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So, and in that patch, we considered that penalty, and then that own goal, and that whole
yeah,
thing happened. Maybe we could have dominated the game further if Romero was, in the place where he was, but that was unfortunate, but it is part of the game. But yeah, I think he is going to have a tremendous impact on this team, and a lot of experts and pundits and supporters of other clubs who had written him off, have to eat their words, some at some point of the time, during this, because he's a real leader, and he's a World Cup
yeah.
winner. He's even though he's so young, he's had a lot of experience. The only thing that was missing in him, I think, was that calm nature that he needs to acquire. And I think with him being thrusted on upon with this responsibility, I think that also sort of takes care of that bit as well.
One key role that we were missing in our team before the transfer window was of sweeper keeper. And what do you think
Yeah.
about Vicario? How has he done?
Uh, I think he's been good. I mean, first game, definitely there were nerves. You could actually see that.
Yeah,
I mean, his body language was funny, actually. I mean, I could actually feel as if he was, when you put a kid on a stage and ask him to dance straight away,
yeah,
he
yeah,
gets
yeah, yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
nervous about it. So he
Yeah,
seemed,
very stiff.
like that kid.
Yeah,
Although he's not a kid, he's a 26-year-old, but still,
yeah.
he's a
He
kid
has
in
that
terms
baby
of.
face.
Yeah, he is definitely. But yeah, but the way he has, sort of shown character in the previous game against United, I don't think he made a single mistake there. Yeah, his positions were
Yeah,
amazing. The kind of reflexes he showed, the kind of composure he showed on the ball, certain balls that he passed from the back. I think he was really good. And there will be days when he'll have an off day and concede a goal here and there, but overall, by the looks of it, he looks really good. Like, he's got a great height, great reach. He's got tremendous reflexes. He can make the run forward. And as he gains confidence, I think his distribution will also get better. So I think overall, I'm impressed with him. I don't know how people just write off certain players in one
yeah.
game. Like, it was unbelievable. I'm sure you must have read stuff about him as well.
It's been everywhere, and I don't really I can see that at times his positioning has not been all that good, and his legs has not shown as much as we would have liked to see. But as far as I have learned, as far as I've read about him, his legs are really good. He's really good with his legs. Not as good as De Gea in his time, but we can do with this keeper. And to be honest, I'm really impressed. I'm really, really impressed. His
Yeah, I
reflexes,
think
the saves he has done,
yeah,
his
it's all
distribution
about
is
nerves.
decent.
I
Yeah,
think. Yeah, I think it's all about being nervous. Obviously, it's a big opportunity for him from where he's come, and to be thrusted directly into a responsibility of the first team, and in Premier League there are no easy games, as we all know. So right from the
yeah.
Brentford game to the United game, and even in the future games, it's not going to be easy. But I think he's coping really well, and I think in the future games as well, we'll see the best of him. So yeah, I think overall it's really been positive the last couple of games. Let's
Yeah.
just probably sum it up with discussing regarding the Bournemouth game on Saturday. Do you think we require any changes to be made to the squad, or because I think Bournemouth is going to sort of sit back and soak up the pressure and then try to counter attack and stuff. So
Yeah,
do you think there are any changes that are required in the squad?
I really don't think so. If it had been another day, I would have said that we can try Lo Celso for long shots or other stuff. But I think it would be unfair for Saad. It would be really
Yeah.
unfair for Saad. So I don't see any changes in the team other than if Ange Postecoglou want to give rest to some players. Other than that, I really don't think anything needs changing in this team. Why fix something that's not broken?
Okay. What I feel is, see, there were some reports that Madison went out of the stadium with crutches.
Yeah,
So maybe he's injured. I don't know how serious that injury is. I
I
don't know whether
think
there
the
are any
reports came
news.
out fine. It was just
Okay.
precautionary. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but suppose it doesn't heal, and Madison has to sit out for a game. What do you think? I mean, who should
I would switch.
replace
I
him?
would switch Bisuma, and Lo Celso. Bisuma, Lo
Okay, so
Celso, and
Luscelso comes.
or
Yeah, okay, and Bazuma
yeah,
plays in the role
yeah,
of Madison. Okay, I think
yeah,
that's a good one actually,
yeah.
because I think
I
he's
like to
doing
think out
everything.
of the box. It's not gonna happen, but I like to think that way.
No, but that's okay. I mean, we are here for our own opinions. It's not what
Yeah,
the team is going to do and what stuff like that. That is the whole point of this podcast, where football followers, lovers like us can actually come onto this platform and express their own opinions and views. And I
yeah,
think we've discussed this quite a bit. The couple of games, a bit of about the manager, the future game as
yeah,
well, the signings and stuff. And I think going forward also, I think we should be discussing regarding this. So thank you so much, Prashant. It was a pleasure discussing this first podcast with you, and hope to see you soon. I think we'll do the next one after the Bournemouth game. This is what we have
definitely.
discussed
Yeah,
till
yeah,
now. So we'll do a review of all the games that Spurs plays, and then we'll see how it goes. So I hope
yeah,
you all enjoyed listening into us. You all can write to us in the comments, and also subscribe to our channel. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good evening, everyone. Have a good evening, Prashant. Thank you.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.